Hey, everybody. Welcome to that fast. I forgot how we're doing this.
You've got to say hi. That's the hard part.
Welcome to the morning show. I'm Doobie, co-founder here at Laughing Place. That's Kyle Burbank. He's our managing editor, and we are happy to bring you what's going on. Well, that was fast. This just in. We've got breaking news. I'm not even going to bother. Alex Rife, he does a lot of things here, but in this case, he is one of our animation reporters here at Laughing Place. Alex, what is the big news this morning?
The big news is that Jennifer Lee, Chief Creative Officer of Walt Disney Animation Studios, is stepping back. She will remain at the studio. She's directing and writing and executive producing Frozen 3, and she will also remain on as writer and executive producer of Frozen 4. But Jared Bush is taking over her position as Chief Creative Officer. He is best known as a writer-director on Zootopia. He is also a writer on the first Moana, the live-action Moana, and Moana 2.
And so before we move on to Jared, Jennifer Lee, how long has she been in this position?
I believe 2018 is
whenever Lasseter was ousted.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was 20.
Sorry. I leaned on my mouse.
I was like, more news?
Yeah. Wow.
How can there be more news?
So 2018,
Lasseter is no longer with
the company. Don't be careful.
Well, that's old news.
2018 is that's when she took over. So what would people most know her contributions as being in her term?
As Chief Creative Officer, I mean, she was head of the studio for, let's see, I guess that would encapsulate Ralph Breaks the Internet, obviously Frozen 2, Raya and the Last Dragon, really the whole at-home era. Encanto, probably the biggest standout amongst them.
Strange World or whatever it was called.
Strange World, Wish. I love Strange World. I'm guessing by the way that you didn't know the name, you haven't seen it.
I've not seen it. I knew it wasn't Strange Magic. I'm like, what's the second word there?
I love Wish.
It's leaps and bounds better than Strange Magic. I'm a huge fan of Wish. I think Strange World, give it 10 years, is going to be like Atlantis and Treasure Planet. Neither of them found success in their time. Both have a huge fan base today. So
as you said,
I think this stream will not age well for you, Kyle.
I just said I hadn't seen it.
Neither will any of the others. So
there was so much attitude behind your voice when you. I'm just kidding.
Okay, so she is not leaving the company, just stepping down from the Chief Creative Officer, and she is replaced by Jared Bush. Why don't you tell us what you know about Jared Bush, the one on the left there?
Yeah, I mean, I was at Disney Animation Studios yesterday. I can't talk about Moana 2, which is what I was there for, yet. That'll be coming up next month. I think October 17th is when you'll start to see some coverage from that press day. But I can tell you just from meeting him, I mean, obviously he's very, very professional. He seems very, very kind and easy to talk to, but also like he would be a good leader. And I know he's been in a leadership capacity at Disney Animation Studios for a while. They have this, like, on every film, there's this credits at the end of studio leadership team. He's been part of that for a long time. So he's already been a leader within the studio. I don't think that's quite a new role for him. But obviously being Chief Creative Officer comes with, a broader purview of everything that happens at the studio. And he's still reporting to Clark Spencer, who's president of the studio. So that kind of most top dog position remains the same. But Chief Creative Officer, basically the one who kind of steers what kind of films get made, when, how, where, and why.
You're right, Clark will still be president, but it says Bush will report to Alan Bergman, actually.
Oh, yes.
Ooh, interesting. So given that you kind of live in this world a lot of the time, if you had to guess who Jennifer Lee's replacement would have been, would he have been high on your list?
Yeah. I don't think the news that it's Jared Bush is a surprise to anyone. I guess he would be the if this were 5+ years ago, he would be the like Tom Staggs of that organization.
Except that this worked out.
Yeah.
Except this worked out, and I mean, the other thing I would say about both of these, both Jennifer Lee and Jared Bush, is neither of them strike me as people with necessarily big egos, which I think in Jennifer Lee's case that speaks to, like, I don't know of another case of like a chief creative officer like wanting to step back from that role but remain a part of the team. You know, I think that to me was like the bigger piece of this, was like, oh wow, like that's different to me.
I just
I mean, I
wanted
get
to
at the same time though, like if you want to make films and yeah, you're a creative officer, but that's still like you're not necessarily getting to work on your own stuff as much. So I can understand, be like, yeah, I want less responsibility. I want to just focus on what I
just
want.
so rarely the way successful people tend to behave. If they didn't want to be the chief creative officer, don't take the job. But it's so rare for someone to just take what can be considered a step back. I'm glad. I hope it's what makes her happy, and I'm glad someone's willing to do it. But it's a rarity.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, when I interviewed her for Wish, which she was the screenwriter on Wish and kind of led that story room, you know, that was a question I had for her, was how do you balance, you know, being a screenwriter and being so involved with this particular film while also fulfilling your duties as chief creative officer? And she said something to the effect of, you know, the team at Disney Animation has been really wonderful in letting her do this. So I have to imagine too that, you know, Jared Bush was already somebody that was helping her during times like that. And I can only imagine the pressure she's under, you know, doing not one, but two Frozen threequel and fourquel coming up in the future. You know, that's a lot of pressure to not only deliver a quality film, but one that's going to be a big success and live up to the expectations that the Frozen franchise carries with it.
Since you're here, we had a question. I'll let you answer. Do you see an Encanto 2 coming?
That's a good question. I mean, everything from Disney Animation standpoint starts with a good story. I mean, that would be the first part. I mean, there's times where they've done sequels where I would have said there's not like much of a story that I can foresee. And Encanto, being that the conflict was this family tension that got nicely resolved at the end, I suppose it would be like doing a Coco sequel. Like, I can't imagine a Coco sequel being particularly satisfying. That's kind of how I feel about Encanto, but I wouldn't rule it out. I mean, I don't know all of the corporate hierarchy of things, but I will say something like Moana 2, which began its creative process as a Disney Plus series and then was morphed into a theatrical sequel, which, you know, coming on a string of several box office, I don't want to say failures, but like underperforming films, including Encanto, which did not do numbers at the box office but became a viral sensation on Disney Plus. I'm assuming that Walt Disney Animation Studios has a lot of pressure from the corporate level to deliver some financially successful hits. I mean, they can't really stay in business, and that's part of the Walt Disney Animation Studios history. You know, time and again, there have been these ebbs and flows of success where they've been at risk of being shuttered, or they've been kicked off the studio lot because their real estate space was worth more as a production office than it was on these animated films. So, you know, I mean, they do have to kind of prove their worth to the company, despite the fact that this is the division that the company really built itself up off of.
Cool. Well, thanks for joining us this morning. Before I let you go, I know you're always busy. What kind of stuff you've been working on lately or have coming up that you can mention?
Oh, yeah. I mean, a lot of TV stuff. I'm recapping the new ABC series High Potential, which I highly recommend if you enjoy, you know, quirky detective comedy drama. And yeah, the pilot just premiered on Tuesday. I think ABC's replaying it sometime this week, but it's also streaming on Hulu and Hulu with Disney Plus if you have that bundle. And yeah, it's airing on Tuesdays. I'm a fan of the show, so I'd recommend people check that out if they haven't already.
Yeah, I talked about that yesterday. I was a huge fan of the show. I called it a cross between Lisbeth and Poker Face, which I think.
Yeah, definitely tonally very different from Poker Face. But right. Yeah, I forgot about Lisbeth when I wrote my review because I talked about how, you know, not since like Jessica Fletcher and Veronica Mars have we seen this kind of like quirky detective comedy. But I completely forgot that Lisbeth exists because I've only seen one episode. But yeah, I enjoyed that show.
Love Lisbeth very much, and loved High Potential, and agree. I think I read from your review on Tuesday, and completely agree with your 5 out of 5 lollipops. Can't wait for more of that. Awesome. Well, thanks for getting up early with us today, Alex, and we'll talk to you the next time news breaks.
Cool. Bye.
That was Alex Reif. He's not our chief animation guy here.
No,
Actually,
he's
that's
not our
Tony.
chief
but
film. Tony reports to Alex.
That's a good way to put it. He's our whatever. Okay, so let's see. I'm sorry, I'm trying to find the button I'm looking for. There it is. Okay, let's get back to our normal scheduled show. We try to bring these in at about a half hour. This one will not be a half hour. I am certain of that. It was a busy news day anyway, but we're going to cover what we're going to cover. So the wrong button there. All right, stock price today, we're at, let's do a refresh just to make sure.
Up 1%.
So I think the Fed cut a little more than people. We knew they'd cut. We didn't know they would cut that much. So that has helped the stock a bit. Sorry, get back to the 1 month. You can see it's now definitely at a 1 month high and climbing. So Disney, don't get too excited. We still got a long way to go. Next up.
Good morning and welcome to another LP Disney weather report. It's only been 3 days and I'm already exhausted. Now look at them yo-yos. That's the way you do it. You play the guitar on the MTV. That ain't workin', that's the way you do it. Money for nothing and your chicks for free. Now that ain't workin', that's the way you do it. Let me tell you, them guys ain't dumb. Maybe get a blister on your little finger. Maybe get a blister on your thumb. Let's get to the weather. Anaheim will warm to 74 today before quickly retreating back into the 60s. At Walt Disney World, it will get up to 90 degrees with storms possible in the afternoon followed by showers in the evening. Castaway Cay saw some light rain this morning but will be around 84 for the rest of the day. Meanwhile, Lookout Cay at Lighthouse Point will see storms sticking around a bit longer but should clear this afternoon, leaving temps around 82 degrees. Following a sunny day, Disneyland Paris is clear tonight and working towards an evening low of 64. Tokyo will be quite warm again today, reaching a high of 93 that will feel like a truly awful 107. Good thing Luke is already used to Florida. Rain will still be on the radar in Shanghai, although it shouldn't be a constant today. It'll be overcast, however, and warm to a near 90 high. Finally, Hong Kong is expecting showers for much of the day with temps in the mid-80s. And that will do it for another Disney weather report. Have a great day and I'll see you soon. Bye for now.
I didn't have to look that one up. All right, thank you, Ethan. Push through, Ethan. One more day. You can do this. I know the first week back can be tough, but you can do this. Hey, JPP, how you doing today? Thanks for joining us. Okay, getting on to some more news. BD-X Droids, which I will show right here if you're not familiar with what a BD-X Droid is. Oh, man. Who's that guy with him?
That's Joshy D.
So why don't you talk about both this story and why Josh D is on our screen?
Yeah, so Josh tomorrow was presenting at, I think it's actually a marketing conference called Inbound that we happened to attend to see his presentation. And I'd describe it, there was a live stream, so I was able to watch it while we had the person there live. He is kind of explaining Disney fandom and philosophy and what makes them special, explaining that to a crowd of people who might have obviously heard of Disney, but don't understand like us.
I have some examples of that coming up. So
there was a sizzle reel of D23 to explain what D23 was and why it was a big deal to people. Anyway, but as part of that, he brought out these BD-X droids that have appeared at Galaxy's Edge, and he said he posited it more as like a hypothetical on stage, but later we got confirmation that apparently these BD-X droids are going to be in an upcoming Disney a Star Wars feature. We don't know which one, we don't know when or in what capacity, but it sounds like they're gonna make their big screen debuts.
Very exciting. So Benji wrote an article, not so much recapping it as much as just talking about some of the ideas he discussed and how that applies to his life and such. Because like you said, this is not for the hardcore Disney fan. But he gave some examples in there he said he talked to some people who attended it afterwards. and some of the things that hit them from what Josh said. And, you know, we live in this Disney bubble where we know all this stuff. And so it's really interesting to hear from some people who don't and what resonated with them. So a couple of examples is one woman was fascinated that the employees were called cast members and everyone has a role in putting on a show. Someone else was shocked that Disney considers the placement of trash cans and how it impacts guests. So just it's always fun to step back a little bit sometimes and realize not everyone is who we are, but these little things that we've just now taken for granted actually are kind of revolutionary. And if people who are uninitiated think, wow, that's actually something.
Yeah, and some of the projects and details that he mentioned were being pitched, the idea for Stuntronics and having Spider-Man swing through Avengers Campus and how he thought that was crazy, but they made it work. And then also the level of detail, having the actual R2-D2 droid roll through the cement to be used in Galaxy's Edge to have that path. So they talked about that. And also just one other thing, the conference was taking place in Boston, and I guess Josh is from Massachusetts, or at least his parents are. So his parents were at the presentation.
Oh, that's cool. I was just in Boston, Fenway Park. They really do talk that way out there.
They really do.
I really do. It's a little weird because it seems like such a caricature, but no, that's how they talk.
Wicked smart.
Wicked. They say wicked. Okay. Yesterday, Jeremiah, we talked to him and he was off to see Voices of the Liberty to debut a new song. And we were kind of guessing what the new song may be. You guys were right. I was not right.
I will take full credit for that. I was a little surprised that I was correct.
So we're not going to play the whole thing here, but we're going to play a little bit for you so you can hear. I won't even tell you. If you can't read at the top, you can hear it right here. That is really cool. Go check out that whole song within 3.5 minutes on our YouTube. Treat yourself because that's really, really cool.
Yep, and that was the first time they'd sung it, like we said, and they acknowledged as much. If you stay through the end screens, you'll hear him say it was the first time that they sang it.
Let's see what else we got. Oh, some very sad news. I'm sorry, this is sad news. The Disney Dream is going into dry dock. That's not sad news. Dry docks are necessary. Oh, click the button. Click the button. Look what we can do. No more ads. You can't do it. So the Disney Dream is going into dry dock. And when it comes out on October 20th, it will have fewer regular rooms and more concierge rooms. So one of the things about the Disney Wish was they had a higher percentage of concierge rooms than the existing ships. And now they're actually transforming, at least with the Disney Dream, to have more concierge rooms, which I am not a huge fan of. The Disney Cruise Line is a huge premium cruise line already. You pay, if you do some price comparisons, you see that Disney Cruise Line is much more expensive than comparable cruises. And their focus lately has been on extracting even more money out of each sailing, whether it's concierge or a lot of upcharge things or having less food around available just around the ship, or giving so much room to the high dollar shops on the Disney Wish. So at one time it was like you pay a lot more, but it's all included and you get what you pay for. And now it seems like you pay a lot more and we're still going to try to upcharge all over the place as other cruise lines.
The Platinum Door.
Not a big fan of that. As a
Platinum
huge
Dorification of the Disney Cruise Line.
And obviously, you don't have to pay for the concierge, but just the fact that there were fewer non-concierge rooms means that there's more competition for them, which drives prices up. Granted, we've got 13 ships coming, so that's going to drive prices down, hopefully. So, but anyway, just not the right direction. I personally love for the Disney cruise ship.
Well, to balance that out, I did send you with an article we talked about yesterday, but after our show, Disney released some more photos of the Disney Treasure making its way out for sea trials, and I thought you'd appreciate these gorgeous photos.
I do very much appreciate this photo. Looking so forward to the Disney Treasure making its maiden voyage.
There's another fun one down. There's a couple of them, but yeah, it's making its way.
Drone shots, helicopter.
Making its way downtown.
Remember when this kind of shot needed a helicopter?
Yeah.
And the horses.
And the horsies.
Disney treasure.
The Jim and Hip Hussies.
Coming soon. Okay, continuing on. Disney Sea, where Luke is at. Fantasy Springs has an album, Kyle, right?
Yeah, you can listen to the music. You can stream a lot of it online, but if you want physical media, as our friend Mike Celestino would want, they have this awesome album that you can purchase in the park.
Can't hug a stream. We know that. And continuing in Paris, so people often say
Tokyo.
Thank you. People often say Disney Sea and Tokyo in general gets all the cool stuff.
It's true,
and they're right. So to celebrate the monumentous 23rd anniversary,
yeah,
wouldn't even made our This Day in Disney history. 23rd anniversary of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. They've got a new line of merchandise, right, Kyle?
They do, yeah. So if their version of 20,000 Leagues is a bit different than it was when it existed here in the States. You're basically in like a pod, and you're not in any water. You're hanging from a ceiling, but there's effects on the porthole that you're looking through that kind of makes it feel like you're in water. And so that's why you're seeing this like steampunk aesthetic and the goggles and things like that. But it's a ride. I was talking to Luke about this because this is his, like I said, first time in Tokyo Disney Sea. And, he thought the ride was okay. And that's basically how I feel about it. It's like, it's not a favorite, but I'm glad it exists.
They must love it because they're celebrating the 23rd
anniversary.
I guess
I have a pin from the 27th anniversary of the park.
So I was going to say, I guess 23, maybe that means something in the Disney world because of Disney 23. That is a special anniversary. But you think they would be doing this even if it was 24?
I think they love merch. Which is funny because the first time I went there, I was really disappointed with the merchandise. So I feel like they've really amped it up in the years since. Granted that it's been 15 years, so that makes sense.
All right, last night was the debut of Agatha All Along. Did you watch, Kyle?
We did, yeah.
What'd you think?
It was fun. So the first episode, like we were saying, alludes to a show that I've seen, so that was kind of fun. And something Marshall called and forgot about. I had to remind Marshall that he predicted this. So that was funny. But yeah, I know it's going to have some probably creepy stuff, but I liked these first two episodes. A light spoiler. There's some mild nudity.
What?
Yeah, you can, if you want to see Catherine Hahn's butt.
Is that the first on Disney?
It might be.
What? Wow, that's why Disney? Why Disney? Why? All right. Our own Mac, our main Marvel reporter, has released his review this morning. So as I do, I will read the title and the final paragraph. TV review: Marvel's Agatha All Along is a delightfully horrific new direction for the MCU. His final thoughts: overall, it's a new type of hit for Marvel. Of course, with it not following the cookie-cutter type of superhero story, there will be voices calling for the downfall of the MCU. But those who are looking for something new will enjoy it. The fresh story and incredible cast deliver an exciting new project that takes a very different path. And again, that path does lead to some things you might not expect to see on Disney Plus, like Catherine Hahn's butt. So keep that in mind as well. Now streaming on Disney Plus. Thank you, Mac. Moving right along. All right. Mike Celestino was at Disneyland yesterday, so he got some couple of quick hits I just want to mention. Got a very cool water station. The fact that they have a water station is very cool, but this one is not just generic. They've actually themed it to Alice in Wonderland, which I love very much. And Disneyland Resort, the Disneyland Railroad is currently down for refurbishment, but they are keeping it interesting over there. So, I wonder if this is something that Josh may have mentioned yesterday, is how even when something is down for refurbishment, they don't just do this to it, but they try to make it interesting. So here they have what we've called a mini museum, or maybe they've called it that.
I think he more means the one over by Toontown. That one feels more like a mini museum. This is just kind of some placards, but yeah, it was pretty funny. So we saw these, and it says, "Hey, for more, go over to these other two stations." So he goes over to the Toontown station, and a conductor comes over and is telling him all this stuff. So then the other station is Tomorrowland. He goes over to Tomorrowland and he's just like, "What can you teach me?" And they're just like, "We have arts and crafts. You could color a photo of a dinosaur."
Was that on the live stream?
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome. So yeah, this is some of the history about the various Disneyland locomotives and such. So this is on Laughing Place, of course. If you want to go check that out, here's a link for you. It's coming. Mike Mack. Hey, Mac. Haven't seen you in quite a while. How you doing? Catherine Hahn.
He's here for our football picks.
Is he really?
I told him.
Oh, wow. I'm going to update my spreadsheet. Is he going to join us or just look at him?
Oh, I think he's just looking at them.
Ah, bummer. All right. Also at Walt Disney World, I really like this. So Morocco has had an update at Walt Disney World. See, now I got to figure out a way for it to realize it's me and automatically add it, because clicking that button is now too much work. They have made this a little more Disney, which is not always the case for Morocco. So they've just added at the store over one of the stores over there. If you look closely, these are all little Disney references to various things.
You have to look closely.
You can't look from a long distance unless your eyes are really good. The Princess Jasmine is obvious. The Marie maybe not so obvious. So anyway, I think these are kind of cool. Let's see. Maybe we'll get in a half hour, not too much longer. So this news may be exciting. You know, I'm pretty busy during the day. I'm not always able to keep up on Disney news. So every night I go home to prepare for the show and I just look at all the articles we put up. And this made my day. Once again, click the button. Urkel. We get to see Urkel, what he's going to look like in Skeleton Crew. He's back. If you can't see him, he's right there.
I had to tell our young staff that Jalil was also the voice of Sonic in the cartoon, but not the movies, but like the 90s cartoon.
So, oh, really? I didn't know that. So is this the beginning of the Urkel-sance? He would probably prefer the Jalil-sance, but
Jalil-sance. Yeah, sure.
I hope so. I hope so. Skeleton Crew comes. We have a date for that, don't we?
Probably.
It was in your article. I know you keep, as our site manager, you keep that. It wasn't in the article, but as our site manager, you keep that stuff up to date. So when I clicked on Skeleton Crew, it says streaming release December 3rd, 2024. Very good. All right. And the final thing going on around LP, as you know, Luke Manning is in Tokyo. So what's so funny?
Circling back
to Tokyo. So he's still tweeting from there every day. He's his first time.
Probably in bed now.
He is his first time there. He is extremely excited. So he is doing a great job of bringing it to you. So if you've never been, it can be like your first time there too, and the kind of things he's covering.
And as Gary brought up, we will be at Reach for the Stars tonight.
We'll be at what?
Being in Tokyo time, but the new projection and show tonight, he will be there.
Cool. So please be sure to follow our Twitter and live Tokyo with a guy who is having the time of his life. We have one this day.
It's a chance, live it up.
One this day in Disney history today. One of my favorite Disney actresses of all time turned.
Hold on.
What? One of my favorite Disney actresses of all time turned 60 today, and her name is Kim Richards. You know her from Escape to Witch Mountain, where she was probably 6, not 60. There's Ike, played her brother. So happy birthday, Kim Richards, the crush of many a Disney fan back in the day. Whew. Rush through that. Anything else before we get on to a little bit of complete frivolity, Kyle?
Let me take a look. We already talked. If you missed it at the top, we mentioned the news out of the Walt Disney Animation Studios, where Jennifer Lee is stepping back. She'll be directing Frozen 3 and writing Frozen 4, whereas Jared Bush will be taking over as Chief Creative Officer. I
see that the music from Agatha All Along is now available to stream.
Yep, for the first 2 episodes. we have a contributor named Jim who writes Disney Legend Spotlights articles for us, usually like once a month. This month, we just published his article. He focused on the very first Disney Legend, which is who, Doobie?
I know who it is, despite the fact I saw that article. It is, I'm looking at his face right now. I'm picturing his face. Mick something. I can't think of his name.
Fred
I know who it
McMurray.
is. Fred McMurray, thank you.
Not to be confused with Fred Mertz. I confused them.
Wow, they have nothing.
So yeah,
in
you can
common.
check out that article on Laughing Place right now as well. There's Marvel is coming to Monopoly Go. If you play Monopoly Go, you can look out for that. That's pretty much it.
Okay, so we are going to do something purely unrelated to Disney, but we think it's fun. We hope you do too. We are going to start a new Thursday tradition here of picking the weekend's football games.
Should people could still join, right? Can I add
Yeah, for sure. If you have that link, please add
Yeah,
it.
it should be pinned. So yeah, you can talk.
Yeah. Before we do that, so I get a Doobie movie review. I forgot I do those things here. So
Okay.
I saw a movie last weekend called Speak No Evil. Stars that guy who everyone loves, but I don't know his name off the top of my head. James McAvoy, Mackenzie Davis, who had drove me crazy the whole show. Why do I know this face? And it's from the beloved episode of Black Mirror, San Junipero. She's the star of that. And a couple other people who aren't as interesting, but are good. Just a very cliche thriller, psychological horror type movie, but done really, really well. Earned its 83% on Rotten Tomatoes. No huge surprises in it, but just executed very well. Blumhouse does it again. And the final scene, if you've seen this movie and you've seen the final scene and you enjoyed it as much as I did, it was completely shocking. Talk to me. I need someone to talk to about this. Did not see it coming. And I'm like, wow, that's how you end a movie like this. So Speak No Evil. Good movie. Good movie. All right.
All right, so I'm sharing the password and link if you want to join our pigskin pick. Did it cut off the link? Oh, it's just on YouTube, just on the important one.
Oh wow, it did. Okay.
Anyway.
We'll figure that out. We'll put it in the show notes. But so yeah, so what Kyle and I are gonna start doing is just picking the weekend. We're not gonna that is a confidence pick. We're not doing confidence picks.
We're not ranking them. We're just choosing our picks.
So let's show this here. I spent a long time, far too long creating this last night, so I'm going to use it.
I figured you would just open your account and we would just hit a button, but
I want to have both of our picks chronicled here.
Okay, good call.
So we can come back to it on Tuesday. All right, so these are this week's games. We're not going to spend a lot of time analyzing, despite the fact we could. We know football. Tonight we've got New England at the Jets. Who you got?
I think I'll go with the Jets here. I know the New England did come out with a surprise win in week 1, but sticking with the Jets.
I'm with you. I think the Jets are going to have no problem with this one. They're coming home. If they lose this, they're in trouble, and they don't want to deal with that. We've got the mighty Giants against the Cleveland Browns.
I mean, this is practically what you'd call a toilet bowl, but I'm going to give it to Cleveland.
The Browns are not impressive so far this year, but
no.
They're nowhere near on the level of the Giants. Chicago and their brand new quarterback against Indianapolis.
Yeah, people had strong hopes for Indy. They haven't proven them yet. So I'm tempted to choose them because maybe they'll break out of it, but I'm going to stick with Chicago for now.
I feel like Indy has been playing well. Their second-year quarterback has been playing well. They just haven't gotten over the hump. Chicago has not been playing well. I am going for Indy.
Okay.
We finally split on something.
Finally.
Hey, Kyle. And pull. Okay, we've got the Houston Texans off to a good start against the Minnesota Vikings off to a good start. 2-2-0 powerhouses, maybe unexpected powerhouses.
Yeah. So this is one where my heart's going to go over my head. I think Houston will probably win it, but I'm going to vote for Minnesota because I like purple. No, I like the Vikings. They have a really interesting story. I've watched a long documentary about them. So I'm like, if I were to rank them, they'd probably be like 4th or 5th on my list of favorite NFL teams, but they are on there, so I'll give them that.
I think the Vikings are the strong pick. I have no problem picking the Vikings here. I think they want to show off at home, show that their quarterback, who is having a renaissance, is not a fluke. And the other Kyle is going for the Texans based on the color of the uniforms. Yes. Okay, we've got the Eagles. Who are they against the surprising New Orleans Saints?
Yeah, this is an easy pick for the Saints for me because, as we'll get to, Nick Sirianni can just mess things up, give wins to other teams, and the Saints haven't needed any help.
So the Saints are overachieving.
Yeah.
If they go to 2-1, they're okay.
You think they're going to crash the car?
Philadelphia is desperate because if they go to 1-2 right now, the league is really going to start talking. Sirianni's tushy's going to get very warm. He's going to wish he had some air conditioning back there, like Catherine Hahn apparently. So, nevertheless, I'm going with the Saints, and I'm looking forward to the downfall of Philadelphia. Take that, one little spark. We've got the 2-0 Chargers versus the 2-0 Steelers.
I'm gonna go Chargers.
Run the ball. If you're gonna
give it to your running back, maybe you should have him run it. You can run it to the outside.
I see no reason to throw that ball. If you're gonna, even if you want to throw the ball, just throw it on 4th down. Go for it on 3rd. Run it on 3rd. Throw it on 4th.
You really only need 2 yards because we all know what you're gonna do on 4th.
Right. They could have done 2 straight tush pushes and gotten the 1st down. I cannot conceive of why they think that was a good play, even though it should have worked. But as I learned, he actually has the highest drop percentage of any receiver.
Yeah.
So, okay. We've got the LA Chargers 2-0 versus the surprising 2-0 Steelers. I don't know who's starting for the Steelers. Are they still going with?
I think Wilson's still out. I think it's still.
Okay, so still Justin Fields.
Yeah.
Against the still hard to say. LA Chargers 2-0. What do you think here?
Chargers.
I agree with you. Harbaugh off to a great start. Also, Chargers has 2 R's in it.
I like charges.
All right. The not great Denver Broncos versus the Baker Mayfield, the Bakersons, Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I want Bo Nix to hit his stride, but I don't think it's going to happen this week. So I'm taking Tampa.
Taking Tampa. I think that's an easy pick, and I am very happy for Baker Mayfield. Green Bay, there is talk that Jordan Love might be back this week.
And,
against Tennessee Titans.
Yeah, I think his backup did fine through all of the interesting trials and tribulations of that game. So I'm taking Green Bay. Also,
Tennessee,
the Titans just they're like Mayo. They're awful.
And their quarterback, Malik Willis, he's been having some tough times lately. I think
Will Levis.
Will Levis. Did I say Malik Willis? I'm sorry, Will Levis. Why did I say that? Oh, because he's the backup for the QB. I searched it real quick, and then it doesn't matter why.
It's okay.
So, yes. But they're calling it pulling a Levis. He's done it 2 games in a row where he has been on the verge of being tackled, just flung the ball.
When your coach comes out and yells profanities and asks what you're doing, it's usually not a good sign.
Not a good sign. Wait, Nikki B, I like your strategy, but I don't see a comment from Nikki B. Oh, there it is. The expert strategy, pick the team based on where I would want to. I'd be a Tampa Bay fan in that case. Yeah, I agree. Green Bay's for real, even with the backup quarterbacks. So we got the Packers and the Packers. Okay. The Carolina Panthers versus the Raiders of Las Vegas.
I think we all know the answer here, and it's the Las Vegas Raiders of Oakland.
Yeah, the Panthers may not win a game.
Or I guess it'd be the Oakland Raiders of Las Vegas.
I should have, knowing we were doing this, I should have used a pocket pick I saw where Bryce Young is walking into practice yesterday and a fan asked for his autograph. He just looks so dejected. He got pulled. He's not.
That's starting. A good point. Maybe what's his name? The Red something or other?
I don't even know who's replacing him.
Yeah, maybe he'll actually ball
out. So Andy Dalton. I suspect he'll do better than Bryce Young did. But Bryce Young went over, signed the autograph, and the guy said, we're rooting for you. And he did not put on a happy face, but he wasn't mad. He just looked so sad. And
yeah,
I feel for people like that. They've gone their whole life being the man, the best, to the point where they're the number 1 pick coming out of college. And then it just doesn't happen. And they have to live that emotion of not succeeding for the first time in their life in the spotlight of being the number one pick in the NFL. That has got to be so difficult, no matter who you are. And I know they make all the money, and and that certainly helps, but it's just got to be so difficult. Wait, we've got Miami, who obviously is on their backup quarterback, versus 2-0 Seattle. Go another Geno Sans. Got a lot of Sanses going here.
Yeah, I'm gonna go away from convention, and not just because I have Tyreek in fantasy, and think that the Miami Dolphins are gonna put on a show for Tua, show him love, moral victory.
Maybe if they were in Miami, that might happen, but that's a long way to travel across the country. Is that the longest trip in football? Miami to
It
Seattle?
is, yeah. And as long as you're playing at an actual NFL stadium and not an international one.
I think we're going to watch the Seattle, not Mariners, Seahawks go to 3-0. All right, the Detroit Lions trying to show they're for real against Kyler Murray and the Arizona
Cardinals.
Cardinals
have been surprisingly good. This is a toughie. Detroit at Arizona, though. You know what? Go with my hometown Cards on this one.
All right. I think, as much as I don't want it to happen, the Lions are going to show that they are no fluke and that we can take care of business here. Probably the most surprising record in the league, the winless Baltimore Ravens versus my Dallas Cowboys.
They're changing that this weekend. Ravens.
Okay. As we do this week to week, you will see I will never, ever pick against the Cowboys. But I also think they will win this game at home. It is time to stiff it up and show that they're not a complete laughingstock. And if they lose this, they are a complete laughingstock, and it's going to be a long season. Thanks, Mac. By the way, did I say the Baltimore being winless is the most surprising thing in the NFL? I take that back. We've got that coming up. San Francisco 49ers, who surprisingly lost last week against the winless LA Rams.
Yeah, I still got
a rivalry game.
Yeah. I think the Giants will bounce back this week. They own SoFi. Why not?
You mean the Niners?
Yeah.
Giants is baseball. I think, there's no way they're going to lose. I really want the Rams to win this, but no, the Niners are going to win. All right. Haven't we seen this before? I'm so bored with the Kansas City Chiefs at 2-0 versus the team.
I mean, they've dropped weird games. We got Pacheco out. Kelsey broke his streak. And Kirk Chains is back. But nevertheless, I do think Atlanta has a chance to win this, but I got to stick with Kansas City.
So you got the Chiefs. We've got Kirk Cousins coming off a great comeback last week against the Eagles. Looking good back there, recovering from that major injury last year still. I'm picking an upset here. I'm going with the Falcons. I am so sick of the Chiefs. So sick of it. Team I root for a lot because I really like Trevor Lawrence. Jacksonville Jaguars going up against Josh D'Amaro and the Buffalo Bills. The other
Bills.
Bills.
Overpaid Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah. No. You got to pay. That's the only way you keep it. You pay or you let them go. There's no in between.
Well, look at the record. Maybe they should have let him go. No,
right.
It's only 2 games. We need to calm down.
In fact, I'm changing my pick based on your poo-poo.
Okay.
All right. We've got the Washington Commanders versus the most surprising record in the league, Max, Cincinnati Bengals.
All right. Well, bleach blonde Burrow coming back.
Does he look like Cody Rhodes to you? When you see him, do you just see Cody Rhodes every time?
I can see that, yeah.
Got the Bengals, and of course, I think that's a no-brainer. All right. So where do we differ? We've got Jacksonville, Kansas City,
Chiefs game, Seattle, Cards.
Dallas, of course. We got a lot of differing here. Okay, more than I thought. Those are our picks.
The hard part is the confidence thing. Me trying to do that. It's like, it's hard because I'm like, well, in theory, I should put the ones where I'm doing the upsets lower, but I'm like, that's, if you're a gamer and you really feel your zag, you should put it higher so that you
feel your what?
Your zag. Everyone else is zigging. You zag.
Wow. Is that a Kyle term, a betting term? Is it a kid's term?
I don't know. It's I use it. I don't know if anyone else does.
Feel your zag. Oh, nothing comes up. Okay. Anyway, thanks for well. Make sure this is nothing important.
Yeah, in about 15 minutes, we'll be live from the Magic Kingdom with Jeremiah Good for Talk Like a Pirate Day.
This is one where he should do this one all by himself and do the whole thing talking like a pirate.
I would love that because I have to anchor it for him.
That'll be coming up. What time?
At 10:30.
10:30, 15 minutes. Kyle's busy. I like it. Feel your zag. Everyone, have a great Thursday. Go out there and feel your zag. Arr, matey. If I'd have known that before the show, we could have done this whole show like that.
And we could have Talk Like a Bostonian Day.
Wicked. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Anything else? Any other shows today other than the Walk and Talk?
I don't think we do, but let me do a quick refresh on the parts blog. We are good.
We are good. Bye, all. See you tomorrow. Doopster and the Kai Kai. Nope, Kai Kai and the Doopster.